things, it's indeed I consider a privilege to have this opportunity. We say, or I say at the very beginning, that we are all very privileged men, particularly looking at the data of Franco, about poverty and misery of the world. We are really belonging to that tiny percentage of people who are very, very lucky and very privileged. And I believe we should try to do something with this privilege. What I'm trying to do for myself is, this kind of thing, but each of us has maybe, thanks to this privilege, I wouldn't say the duty, but at least we should find a kind of voice to do something for whatever you want to call it, our Mother Earth or the problem on the planet, whatever. And this meeting has been very rich, probably richer than last time. We have learned also from the people to do a better job than last time, and of course we'll do even better for next time, when that occasion will be. For myself, I learned a lot from this meeting in terms of knowledge. I also learned that there is the necessity of more voices from young people, and actually I apologize here formally if I responded a little too risky to some that will be improved. On the other hand, firmly established that the Crotona Week is a place mostly done for listening and learning. There are other places where young people can speak loudly. This is mostly listening, learning. I believe that in this world there are civilian bodhisattva that should be discovered and brought here, and you have seen a few of them, and we should learn from them, from their experience, and it's never late to learn. The question now, as always in the Crotona Week, it's over. What shall I bring home? And this, of course, always an individual question and an individual answer, and actually Brother Levi will help us with this question, what I will bring home, later on in his closure. For myself, I have even spoken too much, and I will give the word now to young voices, beginning with you, and then there is Alia, and then Simone.
I'm not the youngest anymore. There are people who are younger here. I thank you for these heartfelt words, for the chance to speak. And I want to speak with the intention, as you say so beautifully, to help bring out as best as I can in my humble ways the Bodhisattva in all of us, in the young and in the old. And that's a very humbling task. I want to speak about this, about the heart in all of us, about the heart of science. And I felt very strongly in the talk before by Franco, when he talked about what is broken, what is not working. I saw it all coming together. I saw us still holding a club with which we're beating each other up, not like ancient wars, but by using elbows, derisive comments, not listening, because we're afraid in a hyper-competitive environment that is present in all the world, that is present in science, in academia, in education, in schools, in economics, in politics, everywhere. When we recognize that this comes from fear, from a sense of separation, of scarcity, we can look at how to change our ways. And at this point I don't know how to continue. And maybe I just take a leap of courage and thank all of you who have taught me about life, as you also said, Luigi. I learned from all of us. I just now say thanks to Brother David, who has taught me this week in unexpected ways. And I just want to say, being together, listening, collaboration, communication is not an easy task. And we know it's possible, we've cultivated it here. This practice that we've been engaged with here, we can continue. And it will always be difficult, it will always be challenging, we will always fail, and we'll try again. And that's part of the change that we can bring into the world in any environment. It's practicing listening, practicing being courageous. Like, I'm just looking at you, Jacob, and you've been very courageous. And it's a tremendous contribution. And this is true for all of us. And it's not about so much about ideas of how to change, but these are the ingredients that are required in our hearts to cultivate, to encourage, empower each other, and then to find how to bring together the ideas by Alexander, by all of us. And not only the ideas in the mind, but also in the heart. And I think that's what I want to say.
Hello. Since I started this week by asking our panel to share a bit of who they are, I figured it was only fair to go out by sharing a bit of who I am and who I've learned others to be. So, you never realize how tricky a question is until you have to answer it yourself. I've learned that as a teacher. But I'll share a few pieces of myself that have been emphasized this week. I am a crier. I have cried almost every day here. I have cried during Brother David's introductory welcome. I cried looking around the grieving room with the beauty of seeing people holding and being held. I cried with the experience of actually being able to receive that being held myself, which is incredibly hard for me. I cried listening to Louisa's and Barbara's music. I cried listening to Marissa's poems. I cried bumping my face on the bottom of the pool while I was trying to mermaid swim and show off. I cried during the Earth Fire presentation. I cried thinking about the 44% of my students who experience food insecurity. I cried reading about the children who are still separated at the border in the US, the moments this bubble that we've created are penetrated. I am a singer. And that is part of me that I've not done a good job of holding on to in grad school, and something that this week has brought back in me. How we connect collectively through embodiment, music, art, and how important that is in the work that we do as scientists, as humans. I'm also a small piece of the collective whole. So with what time I have left, I'm sharing some collective feelings from the other students that I've spent the last evening and morning interviewing, as I'm here as simply a representative of them. So these are not all my words. Some of them are. They're largely curated thoughts and feelings. One thing that came out strongly is the importance of starting from gratitude. That gratitude is for those of us who, for those who brought us here, for our advisors, for the organizers, for Federico, who made it possible financially for many of the American students to be here, for you, Luigi, and for the rest of the volunteers and organizers, for each other, and for the space that is created, that is participatory, and some of us reflected on the virtues of a marathon. This has felt much longer than a typical academic conference, and much more that you have to pull out of yourself, and the beauty that comes out in that. This is a quote, not mine, but that I was given from another participant. Their experience was full of sacred connection, mind and heart extension, and ineffable moments of inspiration and joy. The next thing that came out was embodiment and unknowing. Reconnecting with the creative arts, which is a huge part of the human experience that isn't always brought into science. Science as a contemplative path itself, and the awe and wonder of life as our guiding principles on the path of scientific inquiry. Play first, before trying to move towards understanding, and dancing in the unknown. Another quotation I was given, being human in a technological world is increasingly challenging as we become less embodied. So being human in a disembodied world means connecting to ourselves through this physical form. The next thing that came out was intergenerational dialogue. And the non-hierarchical conversational space that's been created here, which allows for collegial conversations with people from different ages, different backgrounds, going beyond facilitation, but really just creation of space. Being seen where you're standing, and this is from another participant, by someone who's been there before, some weirdo from a different generation. Role models that show that you can be a weirdo throughout the lifespan. Also, the space for hard conversations. For me, challenge is a sign of commitment. I don't put the energy into challenging something or someone unless I'm deeply committed to them. And so the deep listening required to experience the challenge and the questioning of another as their deep commitment to you, to the relationship, to the process. The last thing that came out was the immense privilege of being here. Both the privilege of being together in a positive way, and also, as Luigi spoke to, the privilege as in the causes and conditions that allow each of us to be here and that make this space possible. And for a lot of us, I think that's brought up feelings of inner conflict and some confusion. Acknowledging the huge collective resources in this room, that's financially, intellectually, spiritually, and really deeply questioning how do we collectively come together, or as individuals or in other groups, to make sure that those move towards service. How can we center our knowledge of our own privilege and the own gifts that we've been given and continue to pass those on to the world? This was so beautifully articulated this morning by Franco. I wrote down, genuine compassion is about empowering others. How do we move out of this space and continuously empower others and give voice to others that might not have the opportunity to be in such a space? So I'd like to end with the question. I always think it's more interesting to end with a question than an answer. Who will you be in the world? How will you manifest if you continue to live through the pieces of yourself that were awakened or reawakened during this week? And fundamentally, how will you use that to serve? Thank you.
I can only answer to what you asked me, what Stella and the other asked me to, what I was expecting coming into this week, and what I'm bringing home. I can only talk about myself, and Aliyah questions kind of shaped the week for many, I believe, for sure for me. And when you asked, who are you really? It helped me very much. And I arrived here definitely as a man with the big open questions. These past months, I've realized in my experience things of myself that I didn't like. I've been always, not really always, but let's say for the greatest part of my life, a spiritual man, longing for the mystery, longing for answers. And in these past months, prior to the TODI week, I realized how I was caught up in the normal mentality of the society. Very worried, very scared about money, about many things, about career. And I was really in a constant struggle, feeling that something was not okay. And in this situation, a friend invited me here, and that was already an unexpected surprise. And the second unexpected surprise started with Charles' email, and with the title of the week, To Be Human in a Technological World. And it was really about me, so I came here with a great open heart to seek and help. And immediately, from the first moment when you talk about the fly on the computer, and then with the incredible opening speeches of Brother David and Cameron, that when Brother David said that to truly become human, we need to interact with the mystery. And then you explain all the things related to the I and to the self that really were speaking to me. And as you said before, to me to listen to that level was like already opening my heart, that I realize, despite my spiritual longing, my heart is really like folded in a web. He wants to fly, but it's folded. And in that moment, to hear the clear message from Brother David about the necessity of a relationship with these things, with this mystery that I'm longing, but also the possibility of the I that forget the self. And the ego camp was a description of me. And then when Cameron come here, I didn't want to be him to talk after Brother David, but the two things really brought me to tears, because I felt that was really, those two talks were the slides for me to the following days. I suddenly found myself very open to every little moment, which is something that I wasn't able for so long to experience in my life. And as I mentioned, in these days every moment has been important. And most of the moment I've been observing and asking, and as I said yesterday, from the Tony's mind with the drumming, or certain attention from Federica, from Charles, from all the people of the organization, I've been experiencing like a journey inside me, but also outside me. And every little, I had experience in unity between a lot of the things that the speaker said were not familiar for me. Some were absolutely distant, but in every speech I found something that I could grasp, despite the fact I'm not a man of knowledge, I'm not a professor or a teacher, and I'm a textile designer. I basically sell fabrics, but I have the same longing and the same desire to serve the world that I find in so many people. And something happened the day after those two speeches that opened my heart, and two people told me in different conversations the same thing. And both were people from the East, and both speakers, and they told me, you know, I was sharing with them this desire of fullness. And they told me, I don't know how to translate the word, but in 2 words, only if you really become a child, you can find your full self. And that struck me because, not only because, you know, this is something familiar for an Italian. We've been raised Catholic, and the gospel many times tell that only if you really become a child, you can reach God. Or other times I heard, if you don't reborn when you're old, you cannot discover the fullness of yourself. I've heard this so many times, but for some unknown reason, these things that happened on Sunday and brought me in the week with even a wider questions. And I'll tell you and conclude what I discovered. And to do this, I take the freedom to read a poem that is very dear to me. I think to read poem not in the language that are written cannot express the beauty, and actually the translation I found on the internet was a disaster, so here I worked on this morning. This poem never talked to me like this week. Thanks from this dozen of conversation, and it's from Eugenio Montale, and very agnostic and very beautiful brain that I always admired and always moved my heart. And it's called Before the Trip, Before the Journey. Before the trip, I checked the timetable. I checked the connections, the stops, the layover, and the bookings of rooms with bath or shower, with 1 bed or 2 bed, or even suites. Before the trip, I consult all the guidance. I gather information with great attention to details. I exchange the currencies. And before to take off, I divide the francs from escudos, the rubles to kobles. Before the trips, I even tell some friends and relatives that I'm gonna go. And then I check my suitcase, the passport, the travel kit is completed with a supply of additional razor blades. I even went over my testaments. It is purely superstitious. Airplane disaster possibility are closer to 0. And then I leave. My journey starts, and all is okay. And all is for the best. all is okay, but pointless. And now, what will become of my trip? I studied it too carefully, without knowing anything of it. The unexpected is my only hope, but everybody is telling me it is a foolishness to believe in it. And my heart is beating too hard. This week, I've experienced, myself was the everybody telling that is impossible. And not only each one of the conversation, even the gaze, with Pierluigi we didn't talk until yesterday, and we look at each other a lot of time. With many of you, the few of you, I haven't had the chance to talk. I felt this one unexpected unity, and I felt so loved. I felt loved, and I felt able to give love. So for me, if I have to, Stella asked me, what do you take out home? I bring this unexpected surprise of the unexpected possibility of my heart to be unfolded and love and to receive love and be caught up in this unique, undescribable experience of fullness that I've been feeling these days. Thank you.
You gave an answer to the question, why do we do the Cortona week? Now we should have a comment by Cameron, but I'm sure knowing Cameron that you have forgotten.
Yes, I have. Can I stand up and talk? No. Oh yeah. Oh, I'll sit down. Wow, what can I add after those beautiful presentations? But I'll try. First of all, thank you very much, Luigi, for being a beacon of hope to all of us. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for making this event possible. Thank you to all of you, the new friends that my wife and I have discovered here. It has been nothing but a source of joy and delight. Who are we? Where have we come from? Where are we going to? What is the purpose of this journey we call life? Where is hope, wisdom, and love? We discussed many of questions in this conference. Some of these were the questions that we asked. What is it that makes us a human? I want to bring wisdom from ancient traditions, ancient wisdom, who were not here with us, who could not speak for themselves, but hopefully they have given me the permission to speak on their behalf. I have chosen a few poems. A couple of them are from Persian sages of philosophers of love, and the last one is from my favorite saint, a Catholic saint from the Christian tradition. O you who have come on pilgrimage, come, come, whoever you are, come. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Ours is a journey of hope. What you seek is seeking you. Rumi. And indeed, in this conference, in this forum, we have demonstrated that ours is not carried on, ours is a journey of hope. Human beings are like parts of a body created from the same essence. When one part is hurt and in pain, the others cannot remain in peace and be quiet. If the misery of others leaves you indifferent and with no feelings of sorrow, you cannot be called a human being. Another sage from Persia, Sa'di, and these words are written as you enter the office of the Secretary General of the United Nations in New York. These beautiful words are written around the door. Now, that Persian philosopher of love, Rumi, he was asked, who is he? And this is what he answered. What is to be done, O Muslims? For I do not recognize myself. I am neither Christian, nor Jew, nor Gap, nor Muslim. I am not of the East, nor of the West, nor of the land, nor of the sea. I am not of nature's means, nor of the circling heaven. I am not of earth, nor water, nor air, nor fire. I am not of the empyrean, nor of the dust, nor of existence, nor of entity. I am not of India, nor of China, nor of Saskeen. I am not of the kingdom of Iraqian, nor of the country of Khurasan. I am not of this world, nor of the next, nor of paradise, nor of hell. I am not of Adam, nor of Eve, nor of Eden and Rizwan. My place is the placeless. My trace is the traceless. This neither body nor soul, for I belong to the soul of the beloved. I have put duality away. I have seen that the two worlds are one. One I seek, one I know, one I see, one I call. He is the first. He is the last. He is the outward. He is the inward. I am intoxicated with love's cup. The two worlds have passed out of my ken. If once in my life I spent a moment without thee, from that time and from that hour I repent of my life. If once in this world I win a moment with thee, I will trample on both worlds. I will dance in triumph forever. The love of Rumi for the created, the beloved, the divine. Now, one more, and this one is a prayer. And it's very similar to Rumi. This favorite saint of mine from the Catholic tradition is Saint Francis of Assisi. And it is said that the mentor and the teacher of Rumi, whose name was Shams Tabrizi, when Saint Francis of Assisi went to Middle East in his journeys of discovery and prayer and etc., it is said that he met Shams Tabrizi. And Shams Tabrizi had conversations, long conversations with Saint Francis of Assisi. Hence, their belief in the love of the beloved, the nature, and so on and so forth. And when a few years back, I was going through a challenging time in my life, I must say to you that the poetry, the prayers, and the readings of these saints saved me. And as we are all going our ways, I think I would like very much to share with you the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. It is well known. Most of you know it. So if you want, come along and sing it with me. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Master, grant that I may not seek so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Friends, with poems like this, with prayers like this, with saints like these, we do not despair. We have got to walk on. They have shown us the path to hope, wisdom, discovery, and being able to share the wonders of these saints and philosophers of love with everybody. Now, I will conclude with a very cool sentence, poem by Rumi again. Outside ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. I will meet you there. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, as the final closure, as I say, we give this mic to Brother David, and as I suggest, after his ritual, we just leave in silence and the week is over.
Can you hear me without microphone?
Yes.
I want to respect the desire of silence after you, so I need to tell you that the product of your workshop with Andrea.
Gift that we are allowed to close with silence. And it's a very great gift, and I'm thanking Luigi for it, that we can close with a ritual. We have not had enough opportunity to talk about ritual, but I encourage you to honor them, to invent new ones, and to practice and celebrate these rituals. So we'll celebrate a 2-minute ritual or less now. And the first step is 2 steps. The first step is look inward and see which experience of this week rises in your heart. A gift. Hold it as a gift. Maybe you'd even like to close your eyes and open your hands and receive one thing that comes to mind as a great gift of this week. And now look at the possibility of passing this gift on to everyone you meet when you go home after here. What of it can you share and pass on to others? And now make a firm commitment. Promise yourself to do that. And when you feel that your heart is really committed to it, as to express that commitment, rise in silence, and that will be the conclusion.
Dobra, teraz ja wam